Yo, what is going on? It's David Palmer, the Leo King, and I just thought we'd talk a little astrology talk Monday morning while I'm in a little bit of traffic. Got to run some errands early this morning, so I thought, why not? We'll talk a little astrology. It's Monday morning. The world seems to be, there's two parts of the world right now. There's the world that people are really paying attention to on the world stage. And then there's the world where people are not paying attention to it and living in their own happiness and their own life. Some might call it denial. Some might just be that they are focusing on what brings them joy instead of what brings them sorrow or unhappiness. When you get Venus in a tight spot, especially on this Saturn Chiron, there's this aspect of what side of joy and good feeling are you focused on? Are you focused on the sorrows of life? Are you focused on the things that aren't working out for you? Chiron has to do with things not working out. Saturn has to deal with tough situations and binds. Or there's the beauty of conjunctions and squares, which I find in astrology, which are massive transformational moments of you growing and you focusing on new doors to open and new ways to heal yourself and seeing where the hard work brings better things in your life. And that there's moments like these right now that can be extremely powerful and extremely beautiful. I've been focused more on that. I don't think that I've been in denial as far as, sure, the world's going through craziness, of course, and there's a lot going on right now, but at the same token, I'll be honest with you, I'm focused on the joy of life. I'm focused on what challenges are brought in front of me make me better. And I think that this is a very important time in people's lives where they have to realize, there is so much good things happening, but it's our own tweak. They're trying to call me, and they're going to ruin the live stream. But it's your own tweaked issues that, can mess you up and your own perception and your own views. And this is a week where I don't think you want to ride that tweaked out, messed up view of life. There's no need to. There's really no need. I know people are afraid of war, and I know people are afraid of, there's a million things. I was just listening on the radio, and this is what triggered me to do this little live stream, was earthquakes could happen. Volcanoes could happen at any second. At any moment, there could be some pandemic. That's what CNN was talking about last week. And then they want to scare you now with the war. And then, at any moment, you could have a health crisis. I had a family member recently. Boom, out of nowhere. Body parts don't work, fail. You're in the hospital for a week. People are getting too lost, I think, in, oh my gosh, this could happen, this doesn't look good, this is going to get in the way of me and my joy right now. And it's not even real yet. It's not even physical. It's not even there. It's all a could or a should. So people are living in these could happen moments. This could happen, It's well, did it happen? Is it happening? I think that's where people need to see this week that what's important. Mercury's retrograde in Taurus. The sun's coming into Taurus this week. Taurus, we don't mess around. I have a moon in Taurus, so I don't emotionally get caught up in bullshit. If it really matters, okay, then I get involved. If I see a lady walking down the street and she trips and I see somebody help her up, I'm not going to go run over there and help that girl. That might sound like a dickhead move, but actually she's already been taken care of. Now let me go worry my emotions on a place that matters in my own world. That's why Taurus gets the whole I'm what do you call it? I'm too selfish or I'm too stubborn. No, it's just, if somebody spills milk and they start crying, well, maybe they're going to need to grow up a little bit emotionally, because that's not that big of a deal to cry about. Now, when their mom passes away or something happens, yes, now that's a very valuable moment. Emotionally, yes, it's time to do that issue. People are going through massive emotional issues because if you actually look at the last year, and if you actually especially look at the last 6 months, the sun and the moon, every time the sun comes into a new sign, boom, the moon's squaring the sun. So every time we enter into a new sign, there's this huge emotional burst of energy. We have the 3/4 square of the moon usually, and it just wreaks havoc as we come into the month. Every month we come into of solar months, right, with the sun. When the sun comes into a sign, the moon will be there squaring it. Bam! Then as the sun leaves a sign, it'll be the same moon sign, right? It'll be like, so we entered into Aries on March 20th with the moon in Capricorn. Boom! Right? Now we're leaving this week the sun in Aries with the moon in Capricorn. Boom! So you have to see that this has been an extreme. Every shift point that's going on is almost like in a car and nobody's using the clutch. It's like, and it's like, when are we going to get that lubrication again in life? You know, it's like, every transformational moment is just like we're clunking into new gear without the clutch. And so people tend to freak out about it. People don't realize that you could actually shift a car without a clutch. It's about knowing when the exact timing of the RPMs in the motor is and everything, and you could technically shift without a clutch. People don't realize that though. They freak out about it. It's all about timing though in life. And so the universe is doing these very hard shift points that people are freaking out because they're used to having this really easy way of shifting, but the universe is like dropping hammers. It's fast shifting. It's race shifting in life. We're racing through life, and there's this aspect, especially with Mars leading the way. If you look at an astrology chart, Mars is leading the way, okay? It's like completely leading the way. And when you have this Mars leading the way, we tend to want to, like, I don't know, it puts pressure on our masculine signs and our masculine energy, and that's leading the way. And when the feminine energy, Venus, has gone through a traumatic retrograde on top of the square to Saturn, on top of the conjunction to Venus, Chiron, you have to deal now with masculinities leading the way, femininities kind of in an aspect that's difficult, so that supreme goddess, helpful, it's going to be okay, taking care of energy is hard. It's almost like going to war and all the troops are coming home injured and there's no nurses for them. You know, it's like, oh shit, you know, it's like individually in all of us, there's a part of ourself where our masculinity's having to deal with life in the way it is, which is a lot more harsh. It's a lot more keep moving forward. Don't worry about that. You're not gonna we don't have alcohol to throw on the wound. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to keep moving forward. Once we get to a stop where we can find you that, we'll find you that. So people are dealing with this in their life, and so if you have very weak masculine aspects in your chart, it's a difficult time. If you're very feminine in your chart, it's a difficult time. You know? So it's a time where these hard shifts are happening, no clutch. Every time we come into a new sign, bam! Every time we come into a new sign. And it's been going on for 6-7 months. It's just been nonstop. That the sun comes into a sign and the moon squaring it every time, and then it lasts for like 4.5 days, because usually then now the new sun will now be in a new sign, and the moon will then shift into the same, you know, modality that it is. So it'll go from like cardinal sun and cardinal moon to fixed sun and fixed moon. So it usually lasts 4.5 days, and then we get it on another 4.5 days on the back side of the month. So out of the 30 days of the month in solar calendar, you get 8 days of shit and 22 days of where it's like, you know, okay. And then you're dealing with a full moon and a new moon in the middle of that mix. So then you count those days out, you're only getting, you know, a prime time spot of energy. And then when you come to these transition moments like we're coming right now again, we're getting ready for things to shift just really intense and very hard again, you know? And people, they're not aware of it. They're just going through their life and going, well, why is it just shifting so intensely? Bam, bam. Well, the universe is doing great work, It's, I always said that for years when the Saturn in Scorpio was happening in 2012 through 2015 and then Mars retrograde in 2016, there was a massive construction project going on behind the ether, There was an article I read today about how billionaires are trying to find a way to get out of the matrix, because a lot of billionaires and even Bank of America actually believe that there's a 50% chance that we live in a computer matrix, or I believe it's a spiritual matrix. I think it's much more deeper than what a computer matrix would be. I've always believed that we've been stuck in this predestined reality, and there's not much we can do about it. And even the billionaires agree, and there's articles coming out about this now. And there's a massive construction project going on and how the reality is going to work. And maybe you call it a software upgrade spiritually, or you call it some sort of reconfiguration of how this reality is going to work. And we're feeling it, and we see it on the backside. And right now it's going through this hard aspect. If you ever watch people build a building, there's some parts that aren't going to be smooth. Sometimes the beam's got to lay down and there's nothing to stop the beam from hitting the other beam, and it hits hard, but it's put on there. Or like when they move rocks for dams, there's just times when they just throw the rocks on the dam and it just is loud and it's big and it just hits hard. And that's how each month is coming in, but it's building huge building blocks in your life. So it might not be smooth, it might not be as easy as you think it might be, right? It might not be as like everybody's saying smooth or whatever. But you know what it is it's building huge building blocks in your life. It's making huge changes in your world. It's making the big things in life that you want to shift. So let that stuff happen. Like when it hits hard and you feel the shift point in your life, go, woo! That's another big one. Tally it up, like it's great. Keep that stuff, in life going. And so, these are big building blocks that do happen. These are big shift points, because when the shifting happens without the clutch, some people are letting it grind too much. Some people are just like getting it into gear. Okay, we're in gear, and keep going. You're not gonna ruin the car. Believe it or not, race shifting, there is no clutch. You could double clutch it. You could without. You could do it. And it's weird that the universe is doing that right now, Or it's in manual shift mode. It's almost like most people who don't drive stick shifts, it's like it's in manual shift mode. It's not an automatic. The universe is waiting, right, and then bam, and it's shifting, and you can feel it in the car. Like, we're coming in every time to the new month, like bam, bam. And I'm not talking literal month, I'm talking solar month. And it's interesting that the sun's coming into Venus ruled Taurus this week, as Venus is finishing its square to Saturn and all that stuff. So focus on what's important. Don't get so lost on all these could haves, would haves, should haves, could be, it's going to be this. People are freaking out. World War III. How many times people have freaked out about World War III? It's like, when it happens is when you're concerned. When it's not happened, enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. For months, it's been just build up on the news of like, okay, this could be happening in life. And then, now they're all caught up in, it could be North Korea. 2 weeks ago was Russia. And then next week it'll be China again or something. It's all just distractions pulling you at every corner. And this is the end of the nodes in Pisces, Virgo. It's going to get very intense, very fast in this next week. Especially with the shift, especially with the sun moving into Taurus. And people just need to learn to just, if it's real and it's actually happened, worry about it. And you deal with it. If it hasn't happened, it's not happening in your life, and it's not happening in the world, and it's all just hearsay, and it's just talking heads and opinions, and it's not even here, and it's not even real, then why are you wasting all of your emotional, all of your spiritual, and all of your manifesting energy on manifesting the could have, when you could be manifesting the things you really want in your life? They're trying to distract right now you from manifesting your dreams in your world, because when Saturn comes into Capricorn at the end of the year, everybody who could have had all these great experiences to grow into the next 28 years of their life are choosing not to, because they're choosing to use this could have, should have, and all their manifesting energy on promoting some sort of other big thing that the universe doesn't want to really manifest, but some other force does. And you are wasting your time worrying about all that crap, not enjoying your life. All I see are people commenting on live Facebook feeds about the war in North Korea and Trump this, and everybody is so lost in this crap that they have forgotten about their own great, beautiful world to manifest right in front of you. You have your own superhighway. Focus on that superhighway, to your own greatest aspect, to your own greatest dreams. If you don't focus on that superhighway, and you're focused on all the distractions and everything else, and you don't know where you're going in your life right now, I think that a lot of it is that if you don't know where you're going in your life right now, you've got to pay attention to, you're being caught up in distractions. You're being caught up into visions that of all these things that you really want, but maybe you need to pay attention to a deeper aspect of like, well, what do you feel like you deserve in your life? Do you have the self-worth to back it up? Do you really have the self-worth to back it up? And have you really identified what you feel like you're worth in your life? That's something that a lot of people are having issues with, or identification issues, self-worth issues, manifesting issues, by caught up in distractions and not caught up into their own belief in themselves either. Because then the other aspect is, once you identify what you want, then you realize you're the shit and you can do it. Then you got to believe. If you can't add all the three of those aspects right now, you are in a pool of confusion, you don't know, and then guess what? You're letting your belief systems be believed about what the news is telling you, what the world could be. Your identification is on the identification of what other people are identifying the world should be as for you, and then your self-worth is taking a tank, because guess what? You feel like, well, what's the worth even being here? What's even worth being on this planet if this is happening and this is happening and this is happening? Well, guess what? That's because you've chosen the identity of that identification of life, and that's not the identification that you are, could be, or want to be. Anyways, I gotta go. I'm late. I gotta go practice. I gotta go run in the store. I was supposed to already be in the store. I love you all. For people in LA, I've been talking with Mystic Journeys bookstore in Venice Beach. So I'm planning on an event there. I'm gonna do a Venice event. And I'm thinking about, doing another event soon. So, Path of the Prophecies, the recording I did 2 weeks ago, that show, I'm going to be editing and putting up this week, so that'll be an easy thing. That'll be really cool. We talk about a lot of this stuff in that video. It's like a 2.5, 3-hour video that I'll have done to purchase, documentary, another film that we did, talking film. And other than that, join me on the Leo King app if you want to watch horoscopes every day. I don't know the Venice event date yet. I'm talking with Mystic Journey bookstore right now. I haven't picked a date. And sorry, I got a phone call and I gotta go. And I'll see you guys all later, Later. Bye-bye.